Hello agents and welcome back to another Division build video. Today we're going to talk about Negotiator's dilemma. Thrown a build together. I've considered a few pieces here and there, and this is the best kind of variation that I came up with, especially for PvE. I know there's a lot of PvP versions around for this video, but PvP is in such a bad state right now with being one shot and such. I didn't really want to venture into PvP with this build, so it's strictly a PvE video, guys. As you can see, it's LMG, so I'm spec'd into Gunner. I'm not going to go over the Gunner specialization, but obviously just make sure that you spec'd into LMG damage and you've got the pouch that goes with that to give you the extra rounds. My inventory MG5 is a pretty good one. It's 13, 11, 6 with fast hands. The important two things here being fast hands and the damage to armor, so that there's as little downtime as possible with this build. Secondary weapon can be anything you like, and the sidearm again can be anything that you like, along with the grenade. I've opted for glass cannon. I said in my previous videos I'm a big fan of glass cannon. If you're killing things quick enough, survivability doesn't matter. If they're dead, they can't hurt you. I'm running the sacrifice. It's an absolute beauty of a piece. It's got 3 max rolled attributes with a high crit damage modding. I've only got 1 piece providence in this build, so that gives me 10% headshot damage. With perfect glass cannon, all damage you deal is amplified by 30%, and all damage you take is amplified by 60%. Normal glass cannon here would be absolutely fine as well. Totally up to you. You could potentially run something like Spotter here instead if you wanted to as well. Spotter's a really good damage talent. But then you would have to consider running a pulse or switching to tactician and running the attachment for pulse instead. Contractor's gloves, absolutely min-maxed as well. Weapon damage at 15%, damage to armor at 11%, and critical hit damage at 12%. Just a little side note, guys. Obviously you want to be at 60% crit chance and then as much critical hit damage as possible after that. You might not need to re-roll your stats the same as me, or necessarily use the same weapon attachments as me. So just make sure across your build before you start doing any rolling and wasting your materials that you're at 60% crit chance and then add the damage. How you go about that might be a little bit different to me because your SHD level might be different. Currently I have actually got maximum crit chance from my SHDs, but I'm still a little way off maximum crit hit damage. 4.4%. So just pay attention to that, guys, when you're rolling your gear and if you're copying it like for like. Let's move into the Negotiators then and have a look at it. So 2-piece gives us 15% critical hit chance, 3-piece gives us 20% critical hit damage, and 4-piece, which is what makes this build actually fun to play and a little bit different than other LMG builds. Critical hits mark enemies for 20 seconds, up to 3 marks in total. When you critically hit a marked enemy, all other marked enemies take 60% of the damage dealt. Whenever a marked enemy dies, gain 2% critical hit damage, stacking up to 20 times or until combat ends. So this is actually a huge buff. So my critical hit damage in this build is actually lower than in my normal LMG build, which I'll post a link in the description below. But this has the potential to hit as hard as that, as well as doing damage to multiple enemies at multiple times, a total of 3. So my mask has got 15% weapon damage on, and I've rolled on 12% critical hit damage. We'll go to the holster next because it's not got a mod slot or a talent, but again 15% weapon damage with 12% critical hit damage. Over to the knee pads. 15% weapon damage with 12% critical hit damage. And I've opted to run the backpack. The backpack is running 14.3 weapon damage with 12% critical hit damage, and it's got a critical hit chance mod in it to take me up to close to that 60% that I was talking about before. But the talent, critical measures, increases hostile negotiations damage to an additional marked enemies, to additional marked enemies from 60% to 100%. Now I thought about this for a little while, guys. I did interchange it. I thought, should I run perhaps my Providence backpack, which was giving me some extra critical hit chance perhaps, and then run Negotiators here, because as you can see here, I've got a good set of gloves as well that I could just roll this to damage. But in the end, I kind of decided on just what it felt like when I was playing, that the Contractor's gloves was giving me more damage output. So obviously from the Contractor's gloves, the 10% brand set bonus, which is just LMG damage, the 11% damage to armor, which is multiplicative damage as well, guys. I just felt that this way around, I was getting more from it. Especially when you was marking enemies. You know, this 40% here extra is a significant amount across 3 enemies. That's what you want to try and do at all times. Mark 3 enemies and put some damage out. We're going to have a look at my stats. I'm at 57.8% crit chance. I could make this 60, but I've decided to have a critical hit damage mod instead. The trade-off was worth it for me. My critical hit damage is 144%. Plus on top of the talent, what damage we're going to get from that as well. And my headshot damage is 106%. We've got 17% damage to armor. So this has a potential to put out pretty much exactly the same kind of damage as my other min-maxed LMG build. Obviously, it's not consistent like that build because you have to work for it a little bit. But the fact I can damage 3 enemies at once, ones that necessarily might run into cover, ones that might be hiding at the back of the level where you can't quite get to them, as long as you've tagged them with a bullet, you're going to be doing damage to them no matter where they are in the level. Which, essentially, if you're running this across 2, 3, 4 people in a group, you could absolutely destroy. Unfortunately, the Negotiator stacks don't cross across players, but then I guess it would be even more more powerful and then potentially too overpowered. One thing I did want to note, and I didn't really show it very well in the gameplay, is that you can tag shields, you can tag like enemy equipment and things like that as well. So if a heavy, for instance, like the Riker's heavy that's set up behind the shield with the minigun that they can move around, tag the shield, tag the enemies, and then just unload on the shield. If you can't hit the enemies, unload on the shield. It has that much HP, you will kill your tagged enemies. So it's really, really versatile as well. You can be outputting damage to enemies when actually other players can't because they're in cover, they can't really get to them, they're being hit because it's heroic you're playing on as well, so they can't come out of cover for a few minutes and things like that. There's some real good potential in this build. It's really easy to put together, really easy to farm. And if you can't farm my other min-maxed LMG build, this is definitely the way to go. This is a really good set. I was very surprised to be much more impressed with this than the Strikers build that I did yesterday as well. So for skills, I decided to run Banshee Pulse because I run that all the time. Just to show you the mods that I've got in there. It's got a 9.6% radius mod in there, and I've also got a 9.6% duration mod in there. And then the Reviver Hive, because I've been testing solo and I want to make sure that I don't die mid-heroic. Give myself that extra life. So let me know what you think, guys. If you've built this differently, let me know below. If you've managed to get a bit more damage output from it, or you think of another way of using it, do let me know in the comment section below, guys. Hit that subscribe button for more Division content. Give me a thumbs up, give me a thumbs down, but certainly do please let me know what you think. If you've built a PvP version of this, I will be very, very interested to see that as well. If you want to come and see me live, guys, you can do. I stream almost every day over on Twitch, twitch.tv/DJTICKLE. Most of the time we're running raid help over there, but we like to help with anything we can to do with the Division. Hit up the Discord, the link is in the description below. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
intercepted.
I hear gunfire. Report.
Loading area by Broad Street is under attack. It's the division.
Sell the gate. Use the ABC. Do not let them raid the stockpile.